Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing, and we are the weekly rundown of what we're watching, which might become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on stevestebbing.ca. And Chloe is going to be off until the second week of July. But I have a bunch of stuff this week. I have remakes, Wes Anderson, and war journalism, plus more stuff from my library, but let's get started. Yes, with some fresh for your eyeballs. And DreamWorks wants to go down the pathway of remaking their animated hits. So the perfect one for adaptation is this film, and it's done by one of the original directors and creators of the franchise. This is How to Train Your Dragon. As an ancient threat endangers both Vikings and dragons alike on the Isle of Berk, the friendship between Hiccup, an inventive Viking, and Toothless, a night fury dragon, becomes the key to both species forging a new future together. Starring Mason Thames, Nico Parker, Gabriel Howell, Julian Dennison, Bronwyn James, Harry Trevaldwin, Peter Serafinowicz, Nick Frost, and Gerard Butler. Written and directed by Dean DeBlois. So before seeing this one, I saw initial reviews saying that this one was just basically a live action copy for copy, shot for shot version of the animated film. And largely that's what it was. It's just revamped and put into reality for a new generation that I don't know will pick up on it. It was a movie that I enjoyed. I know the story already, so it wasn't anything new, just doing it with the real people. I love that Gerard Butler had returned to the original role. He's the only actor to actually do that because Craig Ferguson's character is replaced by Nick Frost, and David Tennant is replaced by Peter Serafinowicz in this one. I really like the two leads, Mason Thames and Nico Parker. Mason Thames was from the Scott Derrickson film, The Black Phone. And Nico Parker, who is actually the daughter of Thandie Newton and director Ol Parker, she already appeared in Last of Us. That's where she might be familiar from. But I think the film flows nicely, and I think that's not a test to that this movie is a great movie. I think that's more a testament to the fact that this is actually just a well-written story that is entertaining, that even if you know beat for beat, it still works. It still plays the heartstrings in the right way. And as long as you have a capable cast to bring it to life, which they do, even through the supporting cast, I think it's a lot of fun and definitely something to check out in theaters with the family because the kids are going to really enjoy it. Hanna was really all about this movie, really got the characters and got into the development really well, and is knowledgeable about the earlier films as well. It's kind of seeing that like Nick Frost is kind of like a horror for these like bigger franchise movies now, but I've been enjoying everything that I've seen him do. He's been in the Star Wars universe recently with Skeleton Crew. Now he takes over a pretty prominent role, a pretty main role in How to Train Your Dragon now. He's going to be Hagrid in the upcoming Harry Potter series. So he's going to be everywhere soon. So that's very cool for him because I love him. And it's cool that him and Peter Serafinowicz are in the same film because they are also in the same film in Shaun of the Dead, which is one of my favorite films of all time. So big points for that one. Let's get into some of the technical notes for this one. The film was shot by Bill Pope, who is a god amongst action and sci-fi filmmaking with The Matrix, of course, did Baby Driver, did World's End. is like an Edgar Wright guy, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So infinite marks for Bill Pope. He is the absolute shit. I love that dude. The film was scored by John Powell, who is the original composer of all the How to Train Your Dragon movies, all 3 of the animated films. He also did all of the Bourne movies, except for Legacy. Most of Paul Greengrass's films, Doug Liman's films, all are scored by John Powell. And he also did some big ones. Shrek, so there's another DreamWorks animation film, Evolution, and Face Off. Why Evolution? I like that movie. And Face Off is an absolute John Woo classic. One of the only American films of John Woo's that actually works and is still just absolutely ridiculous in every way. The film was dedicated to Gerard Butler's mom, who passed away in January of this year. The film is also released in the same summer movie season as Lilo and Stitch, which is based on a film that Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders made in 2002. So I think that's kind of coincidental. But yeah, like I said, it's an entertaining film. It clocks in at like an hour and 40, I think. And it's well worth the ticket because the CG holds up quite well. Mason Thames is a solid hiccup and a good successor to Jay Baruchel. And Nico Parker is a great foil for his character as well, a great romantic lead. So a well done film, and this franchise still continues to be pretty solid, in my opinion. Alrighty, let's move on to, well, there's no way else to put it. Wes doing Wes things. This is Wes Anderson's new film. This is The Phoenician Scheme. Wealthy businessman Zaza Korda appoints his only daughter, a nun, as sole heir to his estate. As Korda embarks on a new enterprise, they soon become the target of scheming tycoons, foreign terrorists, and determined assassins. Starring Benicio Del Toro, Mia Threapleton, Michael Cera, Riz Ahmed, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Matthew Almaric, Richard Ayoade, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Rupert Friend, and Hope Davis. Written and directed by Wes Anderson. This is Wes just doing Wes things. And honestly, the last couple films were part of his lesser catalog for me, if I'm being completely honest. I enjoy parts of Asteroid City, less so with The French Dispatch, which I think I like even less than Asteroid City. I think this is a return to a better Wes Anderson, whether it's up to the caliber of a film like Grand Budapest Hotel, I have no idea. Benicio is incredible, but that's just true about Benicio. He's always incredible and always a joy to watch on screen. And I think Mia Threapleton acts as a good foil for his character, somebody that holds him in judgment for all the backhandedly callous and egocentric things that he's done over his life and being the cause of his own destiny, which is exactly where it comes through in this film. This is her first lead role, and this is the first thing I've really ever seen her in. I don't have a clear look at how she is as an actress because everybody kind of is consistently the same when it comes to Wes Anderson films. They always have that deadpan, they always have that one-dimensional performance to them, so I can't give a full critique on any acting in this one, just my happiness to see them. Like, of course, Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston in one of the most absurd introduction scenes to their characters I've ever seen. There's certain threads that have been a part of like a bunch of Wes Anderson films when it comes to alpha male bravado, chest up, negotiation, argument. It's always like frenetic and fast and unintelligible. According to the credits at the end, he did this all on like a German soundstage, which makes it so impressive, but also so expected from a filmmaker like Wes Anderson. I'll also say that I went to this film. I drove to Kelowna from Penticton with my dad, and I'm not sure where my dad honestly landed on his opinion of this film. I landed on the positive end of it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the most violent Wes Anderson films that he's made to this point. Like within the first 5 minutes of the film, I think it's well constructed, like all Wes Anderson's films are, but different than The French Dispatch and Asteroid City. This film sticks enough of a landing that I left it satisfied with the film. Of course, this is scored by the GOAT, one of the GOATs out there, Alexandre Desplat, but it's shot by Bruno Delbonnel. And this is very odd for Wes Anderson because this is the first live action feature he's done that wasn't directed by Robert D. Yeoman. But at the same time, this film still impeccably looks like a Wes Anderson film. So it really feels like there's no change there. But it's a beautifully made film, just like How to Train Your Dragon, but in an art house way. It demands to be seen in theaters. And I feel like the Wes Anderson fans are going to see this film or have already seen this film because it's now in its second and third week of release. But I think if you're still on the fence or if you don't like Wes Anderson, you're not going to enjoy this film because this is still very quintessentially Wes Anderson. It's still so absolutely deadest of deadpan you can possibly get, but that's what we love about him. It's just an idiosyncrasy about him. He just delivers on that all the time. All right, this next one was one of those CNN documentaries that popped up, and I had a big curiosity about it because war journalism, especially after watching a film like Civil War, kind of sticks in my head, and I've really enjoyed films around this. Plus, it's directed by a 90s crush. So it was a given I was going to watch it. This is Never Look Away. CNN camerawoman Margaret Moth fearlessly captures footage of war zones. Written and directed by Lucy Lawless. That's right, Lucy Lawless makes her debut as a filmmaker in this New Zealand produced documentary film about war journalist Margaret Moth, an absolute warrior of a woman. Like the description says, she was absolutely fearless. And this led to her getting a catastrophic injury in the field where she had basically her jaw blown off. And it's horrific to see the recovery. And then she ended up going back into the field and continuing on, even though she had this new disability. And just a really wild story of just a complete, there's really no other way to put it, a maverick of a human being that was not going to be restrained by anything, gender stereotypes, war zones, death itself. It's an interesting story. It is a little kind of rough around the edges. This is Lucy Lawless's first film, but I noticed that one of the composers is a Carl Solveig Stephen, who did two films I noticed on his resume, both with Elijah Wood, written and directed by Ant Timpson, Bookworm and Come to Daddy, which are both really, really great films. I implore people to seek them out because they're really, really great films. But Never Look Away is a solid film. I feel like a good biopic doc. And I feel like anytime you have a CNN film, definitely know that you have a pretty well executed documentary. All right, let's move on to what you can watch on Blu-ray. That's right, on the Blue this week. And this was one that was on my radar for a while, and I didn't get out here in the Okanagan. And I was really looking forward to it, especially because I enjoyed the director's first film. even though I am definitely not part of the target demographic of that film, but I really enjoyed the execution. And this one was an ambitious one. It's a remake of an Ang Lee classic. This is The Wedding Banquet. A gay man makes a deal with his lesbian friend, a green card marriage for him in exchange for in vitro fertilization treatments for her. Plans evolve as Min's grandmother surprises them for a Korean wedding banquet. Starring Bowen Yang, Lily Gladstone, Kelly Marie Tran, Han Ji Chan, Joan Chen, and Yoon Yo Jung. Written and directed by Andrew Ahn. So yeah, I really liked Andrew Ahn's first film, which was Fire Island. It was on Disney Plus with Bowen Yang and Joel Kim Booster. And very much a comedy, like kind of like a gay romantic comedy romp. So definitely as a straight male, I was not the demographic, but I enjoyed the film quite a bit. And The Wedding Banquet seemed like more of a broader audience film about two gay couples at its core. But it's also about the acceptance of that love, especially when it comes to Yoon Yo Jung's character and her accepting of Min's sexuality. Spoilers, of course, she is accepting of it, but the cultural clash, the conflict of it, the protection, the relationships of this film are so well done and so real feeling that the emotions flow pretty freely. And I thought this film was beautifully written. And by the time the credits hit, I honestly thought this was one of my favorite films that I've seen in 2025. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it on my list at the end of the year. Yo Jung's performance in this one was beautiful. I mean, she was so great in Minari. I mean, obviously, because it won her Academy Award, but she's also so fantastic in this film. I love Lily Gladstone so much in everything she's done. Bowen Yang proves in this that he can do drama quite well. This is actually Han Ji Chan's first film, and he's really great in this one. And Kelly Marie Tran is really, really great. She was one of the people that was horribly bullied by a toxic Star Wars internet fan base, quote unquote. So I'm glad that this didn't destroy her want for more in the craft. And this is a really, really great performance by her. And Joan Chen, come on, Twin Peaks, Josie Packard. Just, I will always love her just for that role, because Twin Peaks to the day I die. That series, that franchise, that entity, I'll never call it an IP. It's that stream of consciousness that is Twin Peaks, and everybody that's in its orbit will always be special to me. And The Wedding Banquet is a brilliant, brilliant film. Some of the technical notes here. This is a remake of the Ang Lee film from 1993. One of the writers on that film was James Schamus, who actually co-wrote this film as well. The score of this one was done by Jay Wadley, who did another Kelly Marie Tran film called Control Freak, which is on Disney Plus right now, as well as Fire Island for Andrew Ahn. He also did the score for Hard Eyes this year, The Friend, and a Charlie Kaufman movie from a couple of years ago called I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is on Netflix. And if you haven't seen that film and you want to see something really, really weird, pop it on right now, because it's fantastic. I really like it, but I love weird shit. He also did the TV shows, the Apple TV Plus series Before with Billy Crystal, Tell Me Lies, which is on Disney Plus, and Franklin, which is on Apple TV Plus as well, with Michael Douglas playing Benjamin Franklin. I haven't watched it yet, but as soon as I do, I will bring it right here. But my final thoughts on The Wedding Banquet is it is one of 2025's must-see films, and it probably will become one of my more recommended films when it comes to great dramas with great heart and a little bit of comedy to it. It's so well done, and one of my favorites. All right, let's move on to something you can stream right now. So with the hotness that for a little bit as it dropped, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare kind of got us a little action happy for a little bit in the streaming world, in Canada at least, on Prime Video when it came out. And this BBC produced series that I found kind of captured that energy a little bit for me, and that's really why I brought it here. This is Rogue Heroes. 1941. British forces are on the retreat in North Africa, and Rommel is headed for Egypt. 3 British lieutenants, David Stirling, Jock Lewis, and Paddy Mayne, have an idea for a force that will operate behind enemy lines, attacking key installations, airfields, supply depots, etc. Thanks to the work of Lieutenant Colonel Dudley Clark, an intelligence officer, the ideal unit, the Special Air Service Brigade, already exists on paper. Now it's up to Stirling, Lewis, and Mayne to make it a reality. Starring Connor Swindells, Jack O'Connell, Alfie Allen, Donal Finn, Jacob Ifan, Amir El Mazri, Corin Silva, Sophia Botella, Theo Barklam Biggs, Stuart Campbell, Jacob McCarthy, Bobby Schoenfield, Dominic West, Tom Glynn Carney, Virgil Bramley, Gwilliam Lee, Jack Barton, Mark Rowley, Matteo Franco, Anna Manueli, and Stuart Thompson. Created by Stephen Knight. Available on Prime Video. So yeah, this show encapsulates that fun bravado, that kind of macho, almost cool swagger, but put into like the World War II setting. And you have Connor Swindells from Sex Education and Jack O'Connell, who, yes, Skins reference, and all the great things that Jack O'Connell has done, including Sinners this year. And you have a pretty solid show. 2 quick seasons from BBC, 6 episodes each season, all based on a true story. I mean, even the guns and the rifles are authentic because none of them were replicas. They're all authentic World War II weaponry that fire blanks. So undoubtedly, it was at the time one of the most expensive TV shows in UK television history, which is kind of crazy to think. So it really does kind of reflect in the final product on it. So I just wanted to drop it here quickly because I'm definitely going to bring it to the wrap up segment once I'm done both seasons and can talk about it in full spoiler glory. But I'm really liking what I see so far. And we don't really get fun World War II shows like this. We get them in movie form sometimes, but not in shows. So I'm kind of pumped about this one. And I hope it has the consistency to hold that for all 12 episodes. All right, let's move on to what's new in the library. Yes, I got some fun throwbacks that I haven't seen for a long time. Starting off with 2, and I kind of bummed that I didn't get the first film in this one. So now I got to find a floater copy of the first movie that kicked off this franchise, which I always thought would get a 4th installment, which never seemed to happen still to this day. And I don't even know if I want it anymore, to tell you the truth. But I got Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Austin Powers in Goldmember. And Goldmember is a film that at the time of viewing it, I really didn't like the film. I thought that the ship had sailed on the comedy of Austin Powers, and Mike Myers was on that track of losing my interest. Of course, the Love Guru is to follow, so we know how awful everything went after that. But I think Cat in the Hat was in there somewhere. But I'm wondering if a new viewing of it, a current viewing of it, will change my opinion of it. I do enjoy The Spy Who Shagged Me, but I feel like I need to go from the beginning. So I'm going to have to go and find, I guess, elsewhere, because Movie Zing didn't carry the first Austin Powers film, which I find really kind of strange, actually. Also on the list this week is Domino with Keira Knightley. And I contest that Keira Knightley has never been more badass than she is in this film. And this includes a woman that was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and Elizabeth does become pretty badass. But there's something about Domino Harvey that is way edgier, and I adore Keira in this film. And also, this is a Tony Scott film, so the cinematography is so crazy and so grainy, and I adore every second of it. This is one of the Tony Scott films that did not hit hot in the skillet and make hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. This was one of the sort of dud films, but I enjoyed this film. I enjoyed the cast around Keira Knightley in this one. Yes, that does include Mickey Rourke, whose true colors have been exposed again recently in the news. He's so much fun in this one, and Edgar Ramirez is great, and I really like Domino. I had it on DVD. I'm very pumped now to have it on Blu-ray. Also, La Vie en Rose. This is Marion Cotillard's Academy Award-winning performance as Edith Piaf. This is the extended edition through Warner Archive, who are always hooking up the great titles, and I haven't seen this film since the initial DVD release the year that she won the Academy Award. And again, it's a film that I probably didn't appreciate enough at the time. So I'm excited to give it another look and give the director's cut a spin as well, because I really love a definitive version of a film. So I'm all over this one. Also, Lean on Me, also through Warner Archive, who are the absolute shit, as I keep saying. Anytime there is a Warner Archive release, I have to give it a double take, because I have some really, really cool ones coming up that I'm excited to talk about. But Lean on Me is, first off, it's an Avildsen film. This is the man that did Karate Kid and Rocky and all of these great films, directing Morgan Freeman's leading man like film debut. So this is kind of an iconic high school film. Between getting this and Stand and Deliver, which I believe I've talked on this show before, I'm really owning the classic high school teacher or principal movie department, especially in the 80s. I'm really rocking it. Plus, I've got Breakfast Club on Criterion, so I really do own that department. But really excited to own Lean on Me. It's a film that I don't remember if I've actually seen, so I'm excited to check this one out. All right, we're just about to get out of here, but what am I going to talk about next week? So this is a film that I know Chloe has been waiting for since she got her eyes on 28 Weeks Later. So we're definitely going to get her thoughts on it in a couple of weeks, but you're going to get my thoughts on it because I am checking out 28 Weeks Later, the sequel from Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland. So I'm very, very excited about this film. At this point where I'm recording right now, I don't have any reviews for it. I looked everywhere. Metacritic, any advanced reviews, nobody's talking about. The embargo is literally 24 hours before the film's release. So I am on pins and needles. I'm also hoping to check out the Dakota Johnson Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans' romantic comedy Materialists from the incredible Celine song. That's what the story of the day is all about. I've been seeing nothing but glowing reviews about it, and I'm jealous of everybody that's seen it. I'm really excited for this one. Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. Is this one going to become the Matt Damon on Jimmy Kimmel of this podcast? Just like another film that I'm going to talk about? Maybe. I don't know. I have the Blu-ray of this one. I'm excited to watch it. I just need the full audience to watch it, if you know what I mean. It's the same issue with the Ballad of Wallace Island, which I am going to bring to this podcast because now I have the Blu-ray of that as well. I was just speaking about Movies Inc. and Allied Vaughn just a second ago. That is who provided me with this as well. I'm really excited to watch this one. I was looking at this Rotten Tomato score. It's a 96% fresh. So this is definitely something that I'm going to need to get into my eyes here. But also, I was hooked up by Disney with the 6 episodes of their new Marvel Studios show, Ironheart, which is produced by Ryan Coogler because it comes off the whole Black Panther universe. So I'm excited to check that one out because Anthony Ramos is in that one. So I will have that to talk about next week. But until then, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Blue Sky at The Stevel Dead. You can find Chloe at Honeybun Chloe on Letterboxd. And you can find all of the episodes of this show on stevestebbing.ca as well as our YouTube page. Just search up Steve Stebbing. And you can find us on shiftheads.ca. You can also hear me every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift on Toronto's News Talk 1010, found on the iHeartRadio network. You can also find the podcast of that wherever you download your podcasts from. So that empties out our list for this week. Until next week, bye-bye.